Begin Within Ministries proudly presents Sofa Sundays with your hosts, Reverend Dr. Michelle Izugwu and Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns. Sundays at 11:11 a.m. Arizona time and rebroadcasts on Mondays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Come join us on the sofa every Sunday morning. Sofa Sundays with Michelle and Jeannie. Learn more at www.beginwithinministries.com. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.
Yeah, it's been slow in coming.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much, True Davis. I appreciate you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sofa Sundays. We have our special guest, Deborah Covington, with us today. Super excited to share the sofa with you, my friend. And some fun people in the house today. I love you. Next time, woo! Just never know who's going to join us. Do the wave, you guys. Do the wave. And we do miss our dear Ann Caldwell. So she had a little bit of a fall, and so she's just taking it easy. But we love you. We miss you, and glad you're okay. And I will see you next week for sure when Jeannie's back. I'm gonna have some of my coffee, but
Jeannie's on.
Jeannie's on. We love and miss you, Rev Jeannie.
Amy also.
Oh, and Amy is on. Oh, hi. And then Krista.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So glad you're here with us today. You know, Deb and I are going to get into it in a minute. But first, before we do that, I want to let you know where we are in case you are in the area. You're never late here to the sofa. So we are at 7220 North 16th Street. We are in the home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington's practice at Unleash Your Life Studios, where she does her Best Year Yet. Oh, it's Your Best Year Yet.
Yes.
Got that right. Okay, Your Best Year Yet class. She has other classes. She's also a, I don't know if she calls herself a coach, but she does coach people as well. She does like all the things. And she's the greatest mentor in my life, my spiritual journey for sure, but also in life. So if you want to check out what's going on here when we're not here, just go to unleashyourlife.us and check out everything that she has available. I couldn't recommend it more. It's always good stuff. So I'm stalling because I know I'm forgetting something. But anyway, she doesn't ask me to do that. We just do it anyway because we love her and we're so grateful she shares this space with us. She allows us to use this space for our ministry because she supports our ministry that way, and we really appreciate that. So love you, Reverend Dr. Michelle, and everyone else joining us live. So thank you, True Davis, for setting us up today. We always appreciate the hard work that you put in to making sure the sofa is a sofa.
Yes.
I do appreciate that. Yes. I remember the first time somebody was still here when we took the sofa down. They're like, wait, that's not a real sofa? It's like, you're not supposed to be here still. It's the magic. It's called a set, yes. People. It's a set.
Secrets.
And we outgrew our little baby sofa over there, so we need more room. We need more room. So Deb and I both have our shoes off. So Jeannie will be happy about that. And Jeannie, yes. I have a bunch of notes, so you'll be proud. And what happens when you're not here? I hold it down, girl. I hold it down. Okay, so I think you're praying us in. Have I forgotten anything? Those of you, have I forgotten anything? So. You should just do that little spiel, right? Okay, we're ready.
So let's get comfortable here and begin by taking a deep breath and exhaling. I'm going to take 2 more breaths. With each breath, we become grounded, becoming centered, going within, feeling the peace, the calm that is the center of our being. I'm so very grateful to be here today, as each and every one of us that are either in person here with presence, or online, or to be later viewing and hearing, that each word that is shared is of spirit. as we open our hearts and our minds to that which is being shared today. We know that God is the center of all. I want to reach out quickly to a dear friend, Christy Steinberg, who just recently has experienced the transition of her husband. We send love, support, and compassion to her and all of her loved ones as they experience the human experience of grief, and also recognizing that he is on to his next joyous journey. I send this word out to anyone and everyone who may be experiencing grief, physical discomfort. These words of love and compassion, knowing that this is a temporary experience as we move forward through the guidance of Spirit. I send this word out to the world, to all leaders of the world, reaching for peace and calm and human compassion. I send this word out to all teachers of spiritual faiths, knowing that we all are connected and the core of all teachings is love. And so as I state these words, I know they are true and it is already in reality. And I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for praying us in and getting us started this
pleasure.
morning. I appreciate you so much. Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having me
Oh,
again. This is always so fun.
Glad that you're here. Yes, it always is, because you just don't know what you're going to get.
Exactly. Spirits like
Be
that.
wild. It'll be wild. I don't know. I know. So, okay. We've been talking this whole month about independence and freedom, about what that means spiritually in your life now, what you're experiencing now. Today's card, those of you who are here in person, says, and I'll read it for those of you who are online, I claim my independence from any limitations, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we have independence, we don't have limitations.
That's right.
So we're going to claim that, because sometimes we forget in this little humanness thing that we're experiencing right now. We forget our independence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I wrote something about that, but of course, I don't know. Gina, can you read your notes when you write them? I don't know necessarily. It'll come in. That independence from limitation, that thinking is more than just a positive way of thinking. You know, it sounds like I'm saying just, I'm independent from limitations, rah, rah. It's just this positive statement, but it's not, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you have independence from limitation, that is in its spiritual act of alignment with the truth, with the law.
Agreed.
When you state that, when you really understand that, if I'm independent from limitation, then my truth lines up with what the law says, right? With spirit, what we understand and know about spirit. So limitation is coming from what then? It's not real then,
Right.
because the truth is that I'm limitless. God is limitless, right? Infinite possibilities, infinite ways that it can go, infinite things that are created. So then why do we choose? Because it's our choice.
Mm-hmm.
We get that darn free will thing. Why are we choosing to put these limitations on ourselves? Even the limitation of being in a physical body, right?
Right.
So I think this is the main, I have a reading for it later. Gina, I have a reading. I'm so excited. She's so proud of me right now. I can just feel it. She's like, so good. Reading. She took some notes. But yeah, so like this playing it, I don't even think it's playing it safe.
My
these
question
limitations.
in this for all of us would be to first recognize, where is the source of our limitation? It's in our thoughts. Always begins in our thoughts.
Yeah.
Without revealing detail, a conversation that I was just having with a congregant that has shown up made me think to myself, and she was sharing an experience, and made me think to myself, how many times have I put a limitation on my thinking because I was on the outs with someone? I was struggling with a situation, and so I just chose to avoid it, to avoid the person, to avoid the situation that the person might be in. And when that thought came to me, I went, wow, I'm taking an experience away from me that could be and probably would be a very healing, opening experience if I can remove my thoughts that are limiting me of that I'm having this challenge and this struggle. Because the challenge and struggle still begins in my thinking. So I want to thank you for sharing your experience with me, because it brought me to that place of going, oh, I just thought of something that I'm doing. That I'm avoiding. And looking at that and going, okay, put your girl pants, big girl pants back on, and let's look at this and go, am I willing? And it's okay if I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Am I willing to let go of those limiting thoughts and allow myself to go to that experience and see what Spirit has, what gift Spirit has for me?
Right.
In this.
Right.
Because that's where the gifts come, is when I let go of those limiting thoughts, then there's this openness that is just unbelievable what comes forth.
Right.
And I forget that. I have forgotten it way too many times, and I've been forgetting it recently. So once again, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I think a lot of what we experience in this human experience teaches us to do just that.
Yeah.
We're constantly just being taught to do that.
Yes.
And so I was thinking about this, like most limitation is inherited. We get it from our parents, teachers, the TV, programming that we've had. It's not rooted in truth.
Right.
It's not our divine truth. It's just a way of reacting that we've just learned, that we've inherited on here's how we do this. You know, speaking about like my grandmother could ignore you forever. Even if you were sitting right next to her in the room, like you weren't even there, if she was mad at you. I can remember my grandfather, I was a little girl, watching my grandfather sitting at the head of the table. You know, we were over there for Sunday dinner, and my grandmother's in the kitchen doing her wifely stuff, making the food and whatever, and she's starting to serve the food. And he sits there and he's telling my mom on her, right? He's tattletelling on her. And he says, your mother, blah, 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 and this whole thing. And my grandmother was probably in the kitchen like having a good time. But she was ignoring him. And I remember him sitting there, and she walked out and she served him his plate of food. She set it right there in front of him, but didn't acknowledge him at all. And she walked out, and he goes, you see, she'll bring me my food, but she won't talk to me. She won't talk to me. Like, he was insane. And I was like a little girl, like, oh my gosh, I thought his head was going to explode. Wow. Because she was just like, shut him off.
Yeah.
If you didn't like something, if she didn't like something, she just shut you off. And then she went about her day like it wasn't existing. Like, what is that creating though? Like, what is she creating?
Exactly.
So this is just something that, and then so who learned that? I learned that.
Right.
I learned that. I'm really good at that. That's the first thing I do. If I'm upset, I'm out. I don't do that. I mean, I'm much older now. My husband will probably say, she still does that. But you know, that's my inherited go-to though.
Yeah.
I would rather just avoid it all and just shut it all down than have to go through actually engaging. I've had to literally, I've walked away and then gone, wait a minute, that's not, go back and engage, turn around. You have to go back and engage. You're an adult, turn around. And I've had to make myself go back into a conversation that I would have just left. And
yeah.
screw it, I'm not having it.
Yeah.
You know? it's crazy what's on the other side of that stuff sometimes. So I have this reading because I think it's anything Ernest Holmes says, of course, is going to be important. But he says here on page 147 at the bottom of the Science of Mind book, he says, there is then no limitation outside of our own ignorance. And since we all conceive of a greater good than we have so far experienced, we all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them. But we shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through the old mental reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we continue those limiting beliefs, those limiting thoughts and behaviors, we are never going to transcend this experience that we keep creating for ourselves, right? So then it says, before we attempt to improve our conditions, before we proceed further on the subject of healing, it is necessary that we be certain in our own minds that thought is creative. So are we certain of that? Are we certain that thought is creative? Can we all, yes, we're certain of that?
Yes.
As upon this basis, our entire superstructure rests. So everything we believe sits upon the thoughts are creative.
Right.
That our thinking is creating, right? Since spirit creates by contemplation, purely mental action, then everything in the manifest world is some effect of its thought. That's capital its thought, right? Our own minds are an expression of the divine mind and must be of the same essence. So we do the same thing. Even those little tiny thoughts that run through your mind that you're not paying attention to, that you're just habitually allow, those are creating. Everything, every second we're creating, which is a little scary sometimes if you think about it. Then it says, then we find ourselves in an undesirable that we find ourselves in an undesirable condition in the face of all of this is merely proof that we have limited ourselves by our very freedom. Shall we not then reverse our thinking and take our starting point, the inherent nature of mental powers? So shouldn't we look at what we've created and say, you know what? I don't want to do that.
Right.
I'm going back to my power. I'm not creating limiting things. I'm creating my own freedom from these things. Yeah. Right.
And there's when the work begins, though.
Yes, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. To be consistently and constantly aware.
Right.
Now I'm going to step out there and say, I don't know that it's possible for me to be aware of every thought I have.
Yeah.
However, for me personally, what I pay attention is to what triggers me. And oftentimes people think when you use the word trigger that it means something negative, but it's not. I really like to focus on taking away the value of whether something is a negative or a positive, because I can be triggered with an immense feeling of love. And that certainly is not negative for me, and so I like to pay attention to triggers of all types. And that is my method of paying attention to what my thoughts are. Because obviously if somebody says or does something that triggers me in a way that will create the default of doing old patterns, those are typically not the most and the highest best for me. And so those are the ones that really get my attention a lot now of, whoa, I just did that. Yesterday I said something just very judgmental towards my daughter that it threw her off, and it did me too, because it's something I haven't done for a long time. And I went, whoa, where'd that come from? And I had to stop and go, okay, what's going on with me right now? What is happening in my mindset? What are the thoughts that are going through me right now that triggered me to say that to her? Because that was hurtful for me to say it to her, and looking at that and going, and instead of beating myself up, I apologized to her, and I then had a conversation even with her of, this is what has been going on in my mind, and it has nothing to do with you. And I'm really uncomfortable with the fact that I took that and projected it at you. And so please forgive me. And I'm aware of it. And that's all I had to do. And everything was fine then from that. But it was that now that I've become more and more aware of what it feels like, those different triggers. And that's the awareness level that I think we all need to really pay attention to is what does this feel like within me? Emotionally, physically, what is going on here? Because it does, your body will respond to what you're doing.
Right. And it doesn't feel free.
No, oh no, it feels very limiting.
It feels tight, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
It feels like clenching teeth.
Yeah.
Your scalp feels tight. Remember I told you guys, like, did you ever check to see if your scalp was relaxed? I didn't know that was a thing, but that's a thing. Just want you to know. That's a scary thing.
Yeah.
They say that a lot of baldness comes from people that just clench their scalp. I'm like, what? And then when I read that, I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
my scalp. So the tense, our tenseness. We're like in a limited hold all the time.
Exactly.
Too. When I'm working, I'm like this,
Yeah.
everything's like, it's knock it off.
Yeah.
Like we live in a state of limiting ourselves,
Yeah.
not being in a free state, because we don't. And I'm speaking of myself as well. Obviously, we are not conscious of every thought that's coming through.
Exactly.
We are living just by rote a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
We are not intentionally, and it's not easy to live intentionally at every breath.
Right.
Some things we like having this routine because I already figured out this is how I get from here to here, and I don't have to intentionally think about it because I just know what I'm doing, right? Like I just know. I know how to do the dishes. I know how to drive my car. Like I'm not intentionally going, okay, Michelle, let's focus.
Exactly. Now I'm going to do this now.
Right. But you can feel the difference though.
Yes.
If I even just thought about driving a car, and if I'm like, driving, I'm trying to get somewhere and whatever, but I'm like, I'm a different feeling than when I'm like, I'm just going to drive my car, and then look how I turn the wheel, and look, you can already feel the difference in the feeling. So it's just how are we? It's like you have to constantly reset that all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure all of us as drivers for years.
It's like a whole thing.
How many times have you experienced you're going somewhere and then all of a sudden you're at a point in your journey and you went, I wasn't even aware that I got here already. It's like, wow, that is. It's like, oh my gosh.
Where do we go when that happens? I'd like to know. Where was I?
Yeah. And then the difference when I'm like really paying attention to every movement around me and how my car is looking and how other cars are, and huge difference because the other way feels like I'm closed in.
Yeah.
I'm all shut down and closed in. And then when I'm driving and looking at the world that way, it's like this huge opening that it feels more expansive and free.
Right.
Free. Yeah.
Yeah. Take those mundane tasks that you have, like washing dishes or brushing your teeth or whatever, and just today, and you might like it, do it more, but be in that moment with them.
Well, it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
That's a really good place to start, to be in more in awareness. Is what am I doing right now? What does this feel like? What is my body telling me?
Right. These suits are pretty cool.
They are. I wanted to say too, when we were talking, one of the things that's really shifted for me over the years is appreciating age. Very much so. I am in the last portion of this life cycle, and recognizing that this, I hesitate to call it work, this spiritual effort and the spiritual energy that I'm putting into it now feels less effortless. It feels like less effort. It feels more effortless. And so it feels like it's more of enjoying the experience of the journey instead of feeling, oh my gosh. And I used to just dwell on what are my thoughts are. It felt like pressure. It felt like fear-based.
Yeah.
What am I manifesting? What am I manifesting?
Right.
And now it's more of a relaxed feeling of I am manifesting. And it may not all feel enjoyable, but I'm still manifesting. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of this teaching of not just tomorrow's a new day, every minute is a new opportunity.
Every breath.
Yeah. To
Every
have a
breath.
different experience.
Right.
You know, I have found that I've begun to remove some labels like I'm getting better. I'm going to do this better. And just relaxing with it and going, I'm just going to do it different. That feels less pressure for me than using, because to me, better still to me in my mind has a valuation to it.
Right.
Better or not better, better or bad.
Oh, we love to
You
do
know?
that.
Yeah,
Good or
exactly.
bad.
Exactly.
Good or bad. Yeah.
And for me, it makes it, there's that, we're talking about freedom. There's much more freedom in just going, well, I'm just going to do it different. Yeah, I don't think I want to do that like that anymore. I'm going to do it different.
Yeah.
And so I'm not beating myself up as much. I'm not going to say don't ever, but that has really made a huge difference for me in my life, because the more I was beating myself up, I realized the more I was doing it.
Right.
And we've talked
It's part
about
of the same cycle.
yes, yeah.
Mhm.
We've talked about how people, and especially children, but people period, will kind of act out when they're wanting your attention.
Right.
And I felt like this was my higher self talking to me and saying, your ego's wanting attention, that's why it's doing that. So let's give it the attention that it's asking for through loving and kindness and gentleness and being gentle with yourself. And I felt like my ego stopped acting out as much because
No, it's
of
like
it.
a child. It comes from that
Yeah.
child place. And it's very easy just to say to it, thank you so much for the awareness that you're scared or worried, or I'm taking big steps and you don't know how to handle that. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
the awareness, but I've got it.
Exactly.
Don't worry, I've got it.
Yeah.
I'm an adult now, I've got it. And if I don't, I'll shift it.
Exactly.
I'll make a different decision. It's okay.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for your awareness and your work. I appreciate you, and I thought I'll take it from here.
Yeah, that's it exactly.
Yeah, that's easy to say. Not always easy to do.
No,
but it
it's
is
not.
Easy to say.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we've learned this, a lot of us came into religious science or into these other new thought teachings later in life, right? So we've already been pretty well programmed as a default mechanism of limitation. Just even labeling things, that's limiting everything,
Yes.
right? We just label everything. We have these little second thoughts that run through our mind. Even that little that couple that got busted for cheating on the Instagram. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's all over the internet now. Yeah, they're gonna.
One moment can change your life.
One moment can change your whole life. But everybody's got their little opinions and their judgments and whatever. And it's like, before the grace of God go I. Now, I've never done that. I've never been a cheater. That's not my behavior as far as that goes. But I've not lived my life with things that I wouldn't be ashamed if it got out for everybody. I don't think anybody's, like some of these young movie stars or actors or whatever, and their whole life is in front of everybody else, right? Like, how many teenagers do you know that have made major mistakes,
Right.
and then they do it in the practice to be able to work through it, grow from it, and then make choices. Be like, you know what? I see where that has led me, and that is actually not where I want to go or create.
Right.
So I'm going to make a different choice because I have the freedom to do that. Well, it's kind of hard when it's in front of everybody else, but I myself had a lot of judgment around seeing that clip every time it came across the internet. And then this woman that's on I don't know her personally, but I know her through circles. She came on and said, when you see something like this, please be very careful. And I wish I had come from her point of view. I wish I had my wits about me to come from her, because when I read her thing, it was basically saying, I have sat with many couples that have gone through different things in their marriage, terrible things, awful things, all kinds of things. And it is a big, until you've gone through those things, like, you can't judge it. And it's so hard to see that happen in front of everybody, in front of all these people, and now it's going viral. It's this whole thing that makes it worse in itself. But yeah, he made some bad choices. The other one made some bad choices. People make bad choices, and then they have to deal with the consequences of their behaviors.
Right.
That's true, but we all have done that. Don't act
Exactly.
like you're higher than anybody else. That judging makes it sound like I am better than you, but we are all the one thing.
Exactly.
And we are all susceptible to making mistakes.
Mhm.
Some that are pretty bad. Like he's in 3 days' time, he's lost his job, his family, like, and some of us might say, and rightly so, like you do something like that, these are the risks that you take. And yes, and he will pay the consequence, and hopefully he'll learn and he'll grow, and then whatever.
Yeah.
But who am I to be like, oh, or laugh or make these judgments on another person's human experience if I believe what I believe? So then the same thing is saying something to Nicole that was out of your character. You're like, where is that coming from?
Exactly.
It's a protective, it's a mechanism, it's a habit that I've learned. Like, oh, good, you get busted, and I'm over here, right?
Yeah.
So it's looking at this whole experience as it's a system of choices that we make every single breath that we take. And a lot of those choices that we make, we're not intentionally making them. We're just reactive.
Right.
Reactive. Someone makes you feel good, I'm reacting. Someone makes me feel good, I'm going to hang out with you some more. Someone makes me feel good, I'm going to whatever, you know? Or you make me feel bad, I'm not going to talk to you now. Or you make me feel like we're just reacting. We're not intentionally going, hey, what are you doing? Why are you having those feelings right now? Where is this triggering for you?
Yeah.
Because who teaches that? Other than if you're going to a spiritual community, but where are we learning this as children? Like to deal with some of these, I think it's like our compass system trying to help us navigate, but if we don't learn how to use it,
right.
We're living a life by default, just jumping all over the place instead of being like, here's what I'm trying to create for my life, and here's the steps I'm going to take to get there, and how do I protect that at all costs? That this is what I'm going to do. So that was a little enlightening for me to see her post and then to look at myself and be like, wow, okay, where are you?
One of the things that I realized, and it just reminded me of what you were saying, was that it came to me yesterday when I was processing what was going on with me. Judgment is fear-based.
100%.
There's some kind of fear going on inside of us that in reality we are feeling less than. And that's why we have to try to make ourselves feel like more than. So we project that, In reality, we're always projecting ourselves on everyone, no matter what it is. We are projecting. I'm projecting me. That's why for a long time I've and you brought this up in our very first visit, was that I've always told people what that person is saying to you has nothing to do with you,
right?
And what you're saying to that person has nothing to do with that person. It's all about the expression of yourself. No matter how much pointing we do and how much projecting at that person we do, it's still about the individual that is creating the action.
Well, that's what they say. When you point your finger at somebody, there's 3 coming back at
Absolutely.
you. It's because it's actually a reflection of yourself.
That's right.
So when you're looking at it now, I've had multiple partners that have had affairs on me, right? So I've experienced, so that already was a wound for me, already was a thing that I harp on, like, I don't like that. Like,
Right.
Why can't you just be on, you don't want to be married anymore, just don't be married. Like,
Right.
Why are we doing all this? Why sneaking around? And I think it also bothered me that they were in a suite with everybody they worked with. So everybody was in on it. Everybody was okay with it. That whole thing, I think, just bothered me. So yeah, I want them to get theirs, because I was like, yeah, let's expose that. That's awful, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't know either one of them. I don't know their past or their experiences or what they're equipped with to deal with whatever they're dealing with or whatever their emotional state is. I can look on the people that have been unfaithful to me, and I don't have animosity toward them. I would never be with any of them again, obviously, but I can see the patterns of their own life. I can see the inability to be a faithful person, the inability to whatever they needed in order. It takes a lot to be in that space and to not be tempted or to not be to be able to keep certain kinds of commitments. There's a lot going on in the world, and you have to protect against things that you are committed to. So if you're committed to creating a different life for yourself, if you look and you say, well, I do have some limiting beliefs, Michelle, and I don't like any of these limiting beliefs. Okay, then what are you going to do instead? Well, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Okay, what's your plan around that? Because I will tell you, it's going to seem difficult because this is weaker than the other behavior that you've had.
Right.
You have to protect that. How they say, you don't, I can't think of the saying now. Anyway, I'll paraphrase. You don't let whatever you're going for, you don't let anything come around you that's not in line with that.
Mhm.
That's including friends, including things that you go out and do. So if you decide you're going to be this, or you want to create this for your life, and Spirit tells you, well, then here's the steps to that. And anything outside of those steps, you have to say no to. It could be some things that are hard to say no to.
Right.
If this is the path here.
Yeah.
And I wrote down that you're not a victim, you're a creator.
That's right.
So if you're running around in victimhood, like, oh, this is happening to me, these people are treating me like this, and here's what's going on, that is not the truth.
Right.
You're not a victim. You are
That's
creating it. And the faster that we can all, because you can be as enlightened as you can be, and you can still feel like that every once in a while, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But the faster you go, whoa, wait a minute. Why am I blaming this person? I'm creating my experience. How can I take responsibility and shift whatever was happening that I'm in control of, and move? This to me is a big awareness, and that's the freedom. That's
So
the
may
independence.
I ask you a very vulnerable question?
Yes.
Would you be willing to reveal what was going on with you personally when you judged those people?
Immediately, I remember immediately, it was almost like they should get theirs. They should pay the price.
Mm-hmm.
Because people that have had, well, that's not my first husband, he definitely paid the price. He wound up getting busted for that, and he was in the military, and you get in trouble when you get in trouble. I didn't bust him, somebody else busted him, and he actually went to prison for his behaviors. And lost his whole career. And I didn't even do any of that. I actually would have just left it alone and just left.
Right.
But other women took care of that. Next thing I know, there it is. But like the most recent one before my marriage, someone before that didn't pay any price, other than I made them leave. And the relationship was over. You no longer have access to me or my family or my world at all. But they didn't pay any price. I'm sure they're just out there doing the same old thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the part of me, I think, is kind of maybe still feeling like I don't ever think of that person, but the moment I saw that, my first thought was, rightly so, that should be exposed. I didn't like how everybody else knew and nobody was safe. Thought it was funny because everybody else was laughing and they got outed at a Coldplay concert, so you didn't see it, but they got outed at a Coldplay. They were on a kiss cam. They were holding each other, and the kiss cam went around, and it wound up being on them. They were both like, "Whoa!" and they hid.
Oh, okay.
And then everybody else in the suite with them started laughing, like, "Oh my gosh!" like busted, kind of a thing.
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah.
That's about how you feel about them and about the situation.
Yeah.
But remember, when we judge, it's because there's some fear inside of us about ourselves. So my question to you is, what do you think and what do you feel was going on about the way you feel about yourself, about something within you?
I probably fear that happening again.
Okay.
Of that being, whenever I see people that are doing that, or they'll put things on Instagram, little reels about people, caught my husband cheating, whatever. Yeah, I don't want to catch my husband doing that.
Yeah.
That's
So what I
hear
hear you saying is the fear of self-worth. Because it's typical for us when somebody mistreats us, for us to have a human feeling, emotion of, I'm not good enough. That's why this person is acting this way. And remember, when we're in fear and we judge, it's because there's a feeling that we're not enough. If I was enough, my husbands both cheated on me. If I was enough, they wouldn't have cheated on me. That's the victim consciousness. That's where the fear comes from. But I really wanted, because there was a real depth to what you were saying that was more than the experience of what happened.
So I don't feel like that's like not hitting it for me, but you're saying something and I keep getting a little bit of it and then it goes away again. So like I'm trying to grasp what is that feeling of it's not enough, but like letting it happen again. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
how could you allow that to happen?
Yeah.
Or how could you, see, I can't quite grasp it, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, how can you, I guess, protect yourself? No, it's not even it. It's what was hard was that how does someone like me get treated like that? How do I allow this to happen? How am I allowing that to come into my experience?
Mhm.
How did I allow for that?
Yeah.
You know? And so when I think about that now, that would be so devastating because I'm so in love with my husband. I would hate for him to make an indiscretion like that. That
Right.
would ruin us.
Right.
So it's the fear of that is that I can't control this other. There it is. I
was hoping you'd get to that.
That I can't control
Uh-huh.
what another human being decides to do. And these people that were on the screen, they both had partners that weren't there because it was a work thing, right? So
Okay.
so they can't control. I can't
Right.
control what my husband does when he's not with me.
Right.
And that's a very vulnerable, scary thing because
It
in my
is.
past, the men in my life, except for one that unless I don't know something, did things, got away with things or
Yeah.
tried to get away with things that would directly destroy us if it came to light. So it's
Well,
incredible
remember-
to me that people make those choices.
Mhm.
I just think they're not intentionally thinking. I just think they're following, this feels good, I'm unhappy, or I feel
certainly.
unfulfilled, I'm not
Certainly.
thinking, I don't think they're
Certainly.
full, or they think that, I don't know do they think they just won't get busted? I don't know.
I don't think it's even a
when the
fault most
track
of the
record
time.
is everybody gets busted at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what are you willing to risk all everything over here for what? You know? But it is, I think it's more primal than that. I think it's something inside that just feels like they're not having the right attention or they need more something.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes the spouse at home has gone through a lot of stress and growth and things, and it's not as fun and light anymore.
Right.
So you find someone that's like lights you up and whatever. Now you put that person in this environment, it's going to be the same thing, but
Yeah.
you've forgotten.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think so. Yeah. So it's the fear of I just can't control the other people. All I can do is be me and move how I move. And if that person makes that choice, I have to trust that I'm going to be strong enough to deal and move through whatever comes.
And
It
see,
is hard.
see, remember, it's in the ego where we get the false perception that we can have control. And it's also in
Right.
the ego. The ego is always going to tell us that we're not enough. Because if you were a stronger person, you would have had more control. That's what the ego that type of verbalization. So it's coming I'm still coming to the point of it's still about self-worth that the ego is feeding us that we're never going to be enough. The ego, that's its purpose really, is to encourage us to want to be more. And so when we allow that fear that it feeds us to get in the way, that's when judgment takes place. And I don't think most people take a real honest look at that, and go that hit me in the face yesterday because we were in a situation. I'll just briefly share it with you. I decided to purchase one of those combined washer dryers.
Yeah.
It's all in one unit.
Yeah.
My washer and dryer are working fine. They're old, but they're working fine. And I told myself, this is a huge growth for me. I told myself, I've been working so much and working so hard, and I don't spend a lot of money or time in allowing myself to just have something that I want. I've gotten into the pattern in my life that there has to be a level of need to it. So I don't get something new unless it needs to be
That
replaced.
practical, I do that
Yes.
too. It's
Yeah, if it needs to be replaced, then I'll go and get something different and I'll get the next step up, right?
Right.
But this last year, I saw this unit and it enticed me and I wanted it. And I went, no, our refrigerator is broke. I need to get a refrigerator. I'll think about this. So it just hit me in this work that I'm doing, Deb, why don't you go get something that you just want that would feel good.
I love
And I'm still not at that place where it will be just for me. It has to be something that will have a benefit to the household, right? So
you guys slid it in there that way, like let's
we're on the way to get this. And I verbally said out loud, I'm having some anxiety about this. And we didn't talk about it anymore, and I just let it go. But when we got to the place to buy it, I said something to her, she said something, and I said something to her that was very judgmental. I said, well, that's a dumb question. And she looked at me, and she went, when the person walked away, she goes, I don't know why you're judging me, but I won't tolerate that. And thank God my daughter is so open. And I went, whoa, you're right. You're right. And I had to think about that. I can't
imagine you ever saying something like that.
I know. And I had to think about it. And I went, I'm in fear. I'm in fear over spending this money that my ego is telling me is needless. Yeah. And why are you doing this? And so we talked about, and I went and purchased this unit that I'm so excited about. But it was a real eye-opening for me of, wow, look how that fear is expressing itself in attacking someone that I love dearly.
Yeah.
It was a huge eye-opener. And then I sat in meditation with it last night, and I went, your ego is telling you you don't deserve this. You're not good enough. You don't deserve this.
And you bought it anyway.
And I bought it anyway.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I bought it anyway. So this is a huge, for me, I believe a huge growth for me. And I think it can be for other people too, because I don't think most people are aware that that's where it's coming from.
It's so deep.
Yeah.
And most likely from childhood.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why it's so buried. That's why it took me a minute to kind of try to grasp it, because it's so underneath everything else.
Yes.
You have to take off all the, well, I was angry. No, what's underneath anger? Why were you angry? Because there's all these different levels and levels and levels, and it takes.
Yeah, it does.
We don't always have the time to sit there and go through all that, right? We're like,
so thank you for being open and willing.
Well, we're authentic on the sofa.
We're
authentic on the sofa. I think that's one thing that Jeannie and I always pledge, like just whatever comes out. So if you were drawn to ask that, then it was needed to be shared. So I'm always open. I'm an open book on here. I think I am mostly. I'm trying to think, would be anything I wouldn't share? I don't think so. No, but yeah, that's some interesting ahas, I think.
Yeah.
Just in this week, and just keep, we can just really intentionally pay attention to our thinkings.
Yes.
And if you can't do that all the time, I mean, how can we do that all the time, right? We got a lot going on. Maybe just look at the results.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm cooking something and I don't like how it's come out, am I going to cook it that way again? I'm not going to do it that way again, right? I'm going to change whatever ingredient that I had in there, or I might add a different ingredient. I might take something out. I might just totally, get rid of it and do a whole nother recipe.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at what's going on, no, there's no judgment in that. I just don't have to make the same recipe again if I don't want to.
Exactly.
I'm not judging myself and mad at myself. Well, no, you have to make that 8 more times because you made it the one time. Like, no.
Exactly.
Right? There's no, if we can get the shame and the blame and all that stuff off of ourselves and recognize we are spiritual, bright, sparkly little spiritual beings in these human bodies having this really cool experience, right?
Yes.
And every year that we get to be here doing it is really, we're blessed, because not everybody is getting to be my age, or not everybody's getting to do that. So already we can be like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't beat yourself up over the decisions and the moves that you've made.
Mm-hmm.
Just go, okay, well, I see where that got me, and I'd like to go somewhere else, please. I'd like to have a different experience right now. And then sit intentionally and say, okay, well, what is the experience I want to have? What would you like to be experiencing? I like to experience this. What limiting thoughts do I have around that? Allow yourself, just like we did.
Mm-hmm.
You saw how it took me a few minutes to grasp what it was, right? So don't expect you to be able to get it right that second. Maybe you need a friend that can be like, well, what's the next thing? Or what's the next thing? Maybe you need someone that can help you. But find out what are my limiting, although sometimes you say the thing and boy, those limiting beliefs come in fast. Don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they come in fast and heavy.
That's true.
And if you can write them out without thinking,
Mm-hmm.
know that you'll look at it in a minute, but let's just dump it all out, right?
Yep.
So they can get them on paper because you want to look at those things.
Mm-hmm.
Then say, okay, so here's my limiting beliefs. How do I reframe them so that I can move in freedom? I can move in independence of them because these are not my truth. These are not true for me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to move in truth for me. So the awareness is half the battle. Just being aware of what am I saying? Where am I operating from? And then flip it over to how do I, what's my truth? And now I'm going to move from there toward the thing that I want, right? Or the experience I want.
Yes.
And that's kind of like this little formula for getting yourself from where you are to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't say add shame in there. I didn't say feel bad about it. I didn't say be mad at yourself. None of those things come into play.
There's plenty of things in the world that are trying to punish it. We don't need to do it ourselves.
Enough of that. There's enough of that out there, right? But yeah, really, if you could do that, it'd be nice if we could do that all the time. But if you could even say like Sundays, you say, okay, I'm going to watch stuff on Sundays. I'm going to get spiritually fed. And I'm going to take an hour for myself. And I'm going to say, how did last week go?
Mm-hmm.
What did I like? What didn't I like? What do I want to change? What do I want to keep? Make the new recipe for next week. Figure that out. And then move with that. Even just a week at a time. Maybe it will get to be a day at a time. I don't know. But maybe if you just intentionally said, this is my time for just me. Jeannie does that. Well, I'm speaking for you, Jeannie. She takes, let's get in the bath. She can't do it right now, I think, with the knee. So I'm sorry to bring this up. But she usually has a lot of her own thinking time and her own, in a bath, which is there's intentional time there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could find do you like candles? I used to do it I would do a mask, and then that was you leave a mask on for 20-30 minutes, or that's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can think about what would make me just feel so loved and nurtured and cherished, and a moment to myself where everybody can just leave me alone, find where that is, set that in the calendar or whatever, and just protect it like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And see if you can't work on this independence, maintaining your independence, maintaining your alignment with your independence. It's already there. You already are that, but we forget so easily if we're not intentional.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, do we have any thoughts or anything coming up for anybody? True, can I have the microphone? I think we need to turn the volume on the top one.
This?
Yep. Let's see. Yeah.
How high?
Just let her talk.
Hello.
There you go.
Well, Deb, I appreciate your example of the washer and dryer because I'm going through something very similar to that right now. I beat myself up over whether to get a new car or not because my old car was costing me a lot of money. And I finally decided, yes, I would do it. And now I'm regretting it because I probably have to get a new roof on my house. The roof is a need, the car was not. So I'm stressed about that. And then the other issue is almost exactly like the washer and dryer is I have 4 cats, and somebody was telling me about this automatic cat thing.
Yes.
And
is it a wheel?
Yeah, the wheel.
Oh, they love
Everybody
it.
that I know that has one loves it. Now I have 4 cats. Whether it would work with 4 cats, I don't know, because there's no way I'm buying 2. But now that I've looked it up on my phone, I keep getting blasted with all these ads that I keep thinking over and over. And now I'm going, I can't get that and a roof and a new car. So I'm struggling with how to balance this out and not be worried about the finances and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that other people went through the same struggle that I did. And I'm just trying to figure out how to deal with it. But I appreciate that example. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any?
I can share.
Love it.
There's lots of stuff firing off for me, so I'm in the perfect place I'm supposed to be today. Thank you, ladies. So I think it's like the control. I resonate with the control when I think about somebody else in the judgment, and I'm a rescuer of other people because I don't want them to feel the pain that I've had. So I will project that in a way that I'm going to rescue or help or save someone. And I have somebody that's been dear in my life for many years, and I can rescue no longer. So it's the judgment of allowing that. I have really no control over somebody else's actions, beliefs, thoughts of me and my choices that I'm making. because of my moving, this person is becoming unhomed and doesn't have an option at the moment. And it's just really hard because I feel like, how can I control? What can I do? But I have to take care of myself. And whatever it's the look of, because I did see that it's like the look of, for me, I have looking good programs. I want to look like I'm perfect, got everything put together. But really, if you get to know me, my life is kind of in a little bit of a storm, a tornado right now. And it's good, but it's still like a muck. And I really want to rescue other people, but I find it's judgment. I'm really finding judgment of what their life experience is, of their choices. They're an adult, they're a person, they're on their spiritual path. So what is it about me that I'm not focusing on myself right now? My critical moment.
You got it.
Because I'm switching a business that I've been talking about from some time, because I talk about it until it's ready. Well, it's here, and I'm moving my home, and shifting from this friendship and so many changes. But I want to make everything look good. I want everything. I want to control it.
Yes.
I want to control it to be good, and it's going to be good, and everybody's going to be happy. Well, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's hard, and it's feeling those feelings. So I'm working on the Joe Dispenza, be aware that I'm aware.
Yes.
And I'm aware of it, but I still want to fix it. But I'm like, no, I'm aware of it. No, I want to fix it, and that's not mine to do. And I'm experiencing from where I'm moving other people's judgments towards me and their expressions. I'm like, this is not about me. What is it I'm bringing up in them? Because I'm making choices in my life that's good for me right now.
Good.
But then their expression of what it is. So it's the cautionary of who do I share with? That's that, like you said, when it's a safe friend that will hold that space and know it's coming from love and care. And who it's not those people that it's good to share the things, because sometimes they'll just, love everybody. But I'm in this point in my life that no, it's with the discernment, but it's really, how can I let go of the control and set myself free? Because I put limitations on, it has to look like this, because it's my own safety mechanism to survive and not have to feel. The core of it all, which I realized last night, is abandonment. I don't want to feel abandoned. And I have been abandoned in so many ways of my life, and I don't want to feel abandonment, and I don't want somebody else to feel it. So I feel I'm abandoning someone, but I have to let them have their experience. So it's really, what is that freedom? I'm putting the shackles on myself, and there is no control. It's just being and allowing and knowing that Source God has everything in divine timing, and it's all going to work out. But how am I? My perception looking at it.
That's
how am I seeing it? And I always say, and I've done this before, it's like if I'm in a situation with somebody says, I want to hear you, I share it's a 6 and a 9. You're seeing a 6, I'm seeing a 9, but I want to hear and understand what your 6 is coming from. But I also want that same, because we're looking at the same thing, but we're coming from our internal child, our internal wounds, our internal experiences, and really have that. So this is a huge week, but knowing that I can surrender and not have judgment and just allow and focus on myself. And you say finger and 3 back. It's a pivotal moment to focus on me and not worry about how I don't want to hurt other people, but other people might get hurt. And that's for them to process.
That's right.
And for them to experience. So thank you for this. My wheels are on fire with just the holding space and what I need to do to stay in my truth.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
And one of the things I've learned in my own personal journey and having to deal with other people being intertwined with my journey is that when I am true in my true state, so when I am aligned with my truth and I make my moves from there. So sometimes when I'm moving from like my future thinking, my worry, my stress, my fear, or from my past thinking, feeling bad or being angry or whatever, and then the person that's intertwined with me, right? We kind of move together, this kind of thing. But as soon as I get back into alignment with my truth and I'm making moves that are for me, right? And they freak out about that because we've been codependent. But the only way that they will ever move the way that they also need to move is if I hold my space and not succumb to that. That's their shot. That's my doing that for myself gives them their shot at going, oh, I'm not going to stay intertwined with you. They're not saying that, but they're feeling that disconnect. Sometimes that's what they need to where they'll look at themselves before they're looking at you or that or
That's right.
togetherness or but instead if you're moving and they're forced then to make their own moves, now they may go off the deep end and do what you fear. They may instead go, what am I doing? And they may move. But the only shot they have of that is if we stop that commingling. We stop that behavior. That's their shot. So that's the most loving thing you can do,
Yes.
actually, is get into alignment and then move the way Spirit has you move. That's the most loving thing, even though it's hard. I've seen it time and time again. I've coached people through it with partners, with siblings, with parents, and just said, if you could hold this, let them jump around and lose whatever. They're going to coming at you, acting like you're the worst person in the world. They say all this stuff. Let them. Don't react. Don't give that energy back. Just love them. They'll eventually stop and go, wow, if you don't attack me back, if you don't do any of these things back, then it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
And it's me. Oh my God. My daughter had a situation with a friend. So Lyric's only 14 years old. And when she was 12, she had a situation with another girl that she told the other girl they couldn't be friends anymore because this girl was constantly starting these big arguments, like just flying off the handle. She was kind of a little bit abusive verbally, just, having all these problems. And Lyric decided she didn't want to be friends with her anymore. And then the girl became really mean at school and stuff. So Lyric finally told me what was going on. And I said, well, and she said, well, and this, she's crying. And she goes, and she just says she just wants to be my friend. And if I would just be her friend, whatever. I said, well, do you want to be friends with her? She says, no. I said, okay, honey. Then she's going to have to go through whatever she's going through. As long as you do not engage, don't be mean back. Don't be talking about her to other people. You stay true to what you know for yourself, that we cannot be friends if she is like this. This is not a good friend for me. And hold it. You don't need anybody to agree with you. You don't need anybody to pick you over her. They can all be her friend. In fact, I would tell everybody, you can still be her friend. I don't want to talk about her. I don't bring your gossip to me. You need to stop all of that. And when she did that, the girl was trying to get her goat like crazy, going around her friend circles, pushed her in the bathroom, and then two of her friends came in and pushed the girl. I said, no, you tell your friends, don't do that. Don't do that. Nothing. She's doing everything she can to provoke you so you could be the bad guy. We're not doing that. You stay true. And then next thing you knew, this young woman, I said, she might not have a parent that's talking to her about this. She's only 12. Yeah. What tools does she have?
Right.
Give her a moment. Well, once, I don't know how long it took, a couple months, True, I don't know, a couple months or so. Then this young woman went to the counselor at the school and told the counselor everything that was going on. And all she wanted was to be Lyric's friend. And she couldn't figure out she couldn't do it. And the counselor talked her through it. They worked on some things. And then when she felt ready, she asked Lyric to come, and they had a little meeting with Lyric, and she apologized to Lyric, and she goes, you don't have to be my friend. I just want you to know that I'm sorry.
Well, that's
and,
fabulous.
And all this thing, and I couldn't believe that. Now, this is bigger than I thought it was going to be, right? This is like a huge deal. I actually thought when she pushed her in the bathroom, I thought, okay, if she touches you again, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to come down there.
Right.
But I just want you all you and your friends, you make it clear to those girls, stop. Don't do anything on my behalf. You all stop it right now. You be really clear in the way you're moving right now. And so that girl she was able to work it out because Lyric wasn't doing anything. It's doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And that was like huge for me. Like, oh my gosh, if we can just do that, she knew her truth. That's all she did. She knew her truth. She didn't need anybody else to help her with it. And the other person did all the things. All the tools, she used all her tools to try to control and manipulate, right? Which is what we do, right? When she was afraid, so she was just doing whatever.
Right.
And then when she was left with nothing else, she had to look at herself for a minute. And she made an incredible move, this young woman. And now they're all friends again. She has moved through that. I've always loved her. She's a great girl. She just had a moment. Yeah. But don't we all do this? Mm-hmm. I mean, we all have had this happen to us. We've been on both sides. All of us. I don't know any of us that would only have been So I love what you're doing. I love that you're honoring yourself, and you just have to know that the other person might get crazy for a minute, and that's okay. It's okay. Let
You
them
also have
do their
to-
crazy.
You also have to be prepared to lose them forever.
You can't.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they're just not a part of the next leg of the journey.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
They have, the only shot they have is if you're honorable to your path.
That's
the only shot that they have. It was the first time I ever had that experience. I recognized, like, wow, like that's the most loving thing we can do, is be honorable to our path.
That's right.
For everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible
It is.
situation. So I love what you're doing, and I love that you're taking care of yourself. You so deserve it. You have such a gift that other people need from you, so you cannot be doing these other things because it's a limit. It's holding you back. So the more that you release, the more you're going to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, that your heart has been yelling at you about.
Absolutely.
And I love that for you. So you need support. I mean, if this situation gets uncomfortable, reach out, because it can feel awful
Yeah, it
sometimes,
can.
Yeah, but good for you.
The only thing that I want to add is, this thing about control. Because of the change in the world and with all the technology and instant messages that come to us now so instantaneously, it feels like we're living in a world that's completely out of control.
Yeah.
And so that tends to make you want and feel that you have to have control in your own life.
Yeah.
And this is the most important aspect. I believe that this is happening to bring us deeper into the awareness that we aren't in control, that the higher power is the one in control. And that's the most difficult thing to sit with. So I just want to
say it one more time.
that because I believe that because everything is the way it is right now, where it all feels like it's so out of control,
Yeah.
because we're consistently getting hit with messages that say to us, it's out of control,
Yeah.
everything's crazy, that we want, the ego is saying, I have to have control, there has to be some control somewhere, and so I have to have control of my own life. But I believe that there's a deeper, bigger message to this that's going on by the Creator, a deeper meaning of it's this way so that you will understand and realize and surrender even to the fact that none of you are in control. And there's a higher power that's at work here that's in control. And that makes it the most uncomfortable and difficult place to sit with as well too. So I really want to encourage all of this, and because unfortunately, I'll tell you, you're not the only one going through this type of stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
You know,
We all-
and so for all of this, I think it's really important what I said before, to be gentle with your ego about this.
Yeah.
When I say yourself, I'm really be gentle with your ego about this, because it can drive us crazy.
We're all out of place.
And make us feel like, no, I have to hold on to this control. I have to, and get desperate for it almost at times. And that's when things just fall apart, because we aren't in control of it. What we're in control of is ourselves, and getting to that inner space that I did the opening prayer about, of that quiet space of listening, of being in, really reaching for that calm peace that's deep within us, because that's our essence of who we really are. And to reach for that so that we can hear the voice of God, the voice of the universe, whatever you want to call it, that feeds us through our intuition, that tells us what our steps are to take, that's in flow and in alignment with the Creator that is in control. Yeah, so it really takes a lot of effort to be gentle with your ego.
A lot of grace.
Yeah,
Lots and lots of grace. That's a key word there.
yeah,
Gentle and grace. Yeah. And then knowing that oftentimes we perceive what we think should happen, what we put out there, what our goals and plans are. We all want to, part of their visioning, and we vision what we want it to look like, all pretty and neat with a bow. And we may not get that
That's right.
as the answer to what we're wanting. We may receive another way from Spirit to move through because it's always that or something better.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we don't deem it as better, you know, it maybe doesn't have sparkles and, you know, all of our fun friends and
Mhm.
whatever, we might label it as a bad thing. And if you remember the little fable of the guy with the farmer guy, right? If we can move, we're having the monks here on the 23rd. And if we can move through with that grace of here's what's showing up and what am I here to receive from this?
Exactly.
How am I growing in this? I tell my husband oftentimes, sometimes things that happen, if it pushes me to my spiritual practice,
Yeah.
I call it good,
Yes.
right? It may feel awful, but that is when I get in those moments, my retreat is to my spiritual practice. And oh my gosh. So is that good or bad? I mean, how can you label? I don't know. But we are in control of our response to what's happening. We are in control of our thinking, and that's the reflection we're going to receive. And then, but God is moving all the parts and moving all the things, and just we don't have that full big picture, but we,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But we
exactly.
certainly can choose through our, you know, independence to move in alignment.
Yeah.
Stop fighting it. Allow whatever different ways that it can come.
Mhm.
But
I think it's important for us to remember too that as creators and manifesting, we're always, in order to create and manifest something, we're always disassembling something that was. That
yeah.
has
Oh my
been.
gosh. Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
And you know, and
Oh.
remembering that, and you know, one of the things I took a grief class at the last church, and the thing that he said that didn't dawn on me at the time was, we all experience grief frequently.
Yeah.
We're not even aware of it, but we all experience grief because when we're disassembling something, we're letting go of something, and there's a certain amount of missing that we feel in that at some level. Maybe
Right.
it's just shallow level, but there's always some feeling of missing something that was that because it was working for us at the time.
Right.
That's why it was there. And when we disassemble it, it's like, oh yeah, oh okay, there's something new, but that's gone. You know, so it brings us to that place of the importance of really recognizing how important it is to live in every moment now. Live in the now. Live in the now.
Yeah.
This is what I'd like, but this is where I am right now.
Right now.
And that can happen next, or it can be something better.
And if you sit here and you hate everything,
Exactly.
I'm sorry, my friend, you're just attracting more things you hate.
Yeah.
You've got to, if you want more things to love and you want to, like, you've got to love right now.
Yeah.
You've got to find it for whatever is this right now, or you're just attracting more of the same. It's a conundrum. I don't know how to get around
so
it.
in a way, so in a way, you're even grieving over the fact that you're not going to be rescuing this person anymore.
And that they won't be in my life anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But we can even grieve over things that we were doing that we recognize at a point, it's not healthy for me anymore.
Yeah. And instead of grieving, you flip it around and say, I want the highest and best is happening.
Oh
For
yeah.
both of it. The energy's different, right? The energy's like,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see what happens next.
Yes. Yeah.
What Spirit has for both of us as we move through this. I mean, you could have a friendship. We don't know.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened. I didn't think those two would be friends again.
Yeah.
And they are fast. They're good. It's good.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, life, as long as we're here on this planet, stuff can change.
That's
Things
right.
can move and things
That's
can
right.
change, you know?
One thing you can count on.
Yeah.
Change.
And that we don't know what that's going to be.
That's
but there
right.
you go. Oh
That's
my
right.
gosh. So anything else? Do you have anything else, Debbie?
No,
Got a
but
question?
Jeannie mentioned it for you to mention the chanting for the members.
So spiritual club partners, listen up. I sent an email out about the 23rd. If you did not receive it, you need to let me know. If you are a spiritual church club partner, so that's somebody that pays $45 a month or $75 a month for their themselves and a family or a significant other. We have the monks coming to visit us on the 23rd. We are co-sponsoring this event with Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington, and she is sponsoring it for her Your Best Year Yet students, members. Begin Within Ministries, Jeannie and I are sponsoring it for our Spiritual Church Club partners. So those tickets are free to you guys, and we are not selling tickets beyond that because we only have room for 25. So you've got yours.
I do.
Do you have yours, Emmy?
I don't yet. I forgot about it.
Emmy, you better know. No, but so and it's not too late to become a Spiritual Church Club partner. You could do that today. All you have to do is, go online to beginwithinministries.com, hit the button where it says donation down the bottom, and then just select the monthly donation of $45 for an individual or $75 for a couple or a family. And this just shows us that you like what we're doing here, that you want us to continue, that you want to support this ministry so we can keep growing. And we bring things like this to our partners. We have 2 workshops coming up in August as well from Reverend Jeannie and myself, 2 separate ones. So those are also free to our partners and things like that. We enjoy doing that. So the more that support we have, the more we can do for everyone. What else? I got to hurry us out here.
Yeah.
Okay. So
What
anything
can we
else?
use to support you?
So I just said that. I think about the
did
scripture.
you?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you can always. We always would appreciate sharing our feed. So if you see us on the YouTube, if you go into Sofa Sundays group on Facebook or Sofa Sundays on Instagram and you see us there, please share it with others. Let people know we're out there. Comment, put gifts on our things so that the algorithm says, "Ooh, something cool is happening right here. Let's put it out there." They'll share it too. So the more that you can help us, the better. We really appreciate that. We love what we're doing up here and want to just build this and grow the community for all of us to benefit from. What else I have to pray? I thought that's it. Okay. So one thing I did last week, and I want to do it again, is really going through in the prayer to help us understand the spiritual mind treatment, because we're talking a lot about our thinking and the way our thoughts are working, and the spiritual mind treatment is for that. It treats our minds. We're not begging God for stuff. We're not, hoping and praying that God helps. No, God already is doing what God does, right? We just need to align with that. So it's really treating our own mind because we are creating through us. And so the first step is always recognition. So if you'll close your eyes and take a big deep breath, and in your mind, recognize there's only one power. But when I say there's only one, it doesn't mean one like the number one, like a single small little thing. It's big and it's massive. It's unlimited. It's infinite. And I see it as the universe just racing with stars and going in every direction forever and ever. I see it just glowing, and Jeannie would say sparkling with glitter and all of the things. It fills me up. It's so massive, so powerful, so beautiful. It is everything. Everything is made of this one thing. It is all there is. It is limitless. It is expansive. It continues forever and ever. And as we recognize this, as we feel the up leveling of our spirit, as we recognize this about spirit, we unify with that understanding. This is the second step, unifying that because there is only this one thing. That is what we are made of. We also are limitless. We have infinite possibilities available to us as we are creators, as we create from that God stuff within us. God moves in, as, and through each one of us, and we create from that, which is God, which is source, which is that sparkly, effervescence, bubbly stuff inside of us. And it's so exciting. It's so amazing. And from that knowing, from that deep place within me, I speak my word. And this is the realization step. I speak my word. I realize that from my truth, I realize what I say, what I think, what I put out into the world is already done in the mind of God. I just need to allow it. I need to allow myself to experience, to align with it. And as I allow myself to be free, to be independent of fear, to be independent of limits, I know that anything I want to create is there for me. I need only align. I know that my wild imagination just shows me just one of the many ways that I can experience this life of mine. And I let those ideas run through my mind for this quick moment. Just see all the things, all the exciting things, maybe even practical things, things that you just want to be experiencing. A new roof. I like having really great appliances. It's amazing. I love that. And I can bring that to me like a magnet because I am that which I think about. I create that. I align with it. I allow it. I'm open. I'm receiving. I'm not closed up. I'm open. I'm expansive. I am the universe. And the next step then is to be thankful. Thankful that this is already done in the mind of God, that it is already there, and the law can only say yes to what I have put into it. Intentionally, on purpose. I am thankful. I am grateful. And so the last step is to release, let it go, knowing that it's already done. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Well, thank you for being here with us. We love you all. We'll see you next week, Reverend Jeannie. We're excited to have you back. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Time, or Monday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.